the next talk. It is by none other than our Professor Madhusudan Penna. We are very fortunate to have such great stalwarts today. We had Professor Shatavdhani Ganesh ji narrating autobiographically how he has achieved such polymath scholarship. And now we are having our Professor Madhusudan Penna ji. Professor Madhusudan Penna ji is now all over India and the world, is well known for his multifaceted scholarship in Sanskrit and Shaastras. He was the Vice Chancellor of KKSU, Karnataka, Kavikula Guru Kalidasa Sanskrit University. Currently, he is the Professor and Dean, Bharatiya Darshana Department at the same university. He has been awarded with Sahitya Academy Award for Mahakavya on Gulabrao Maharaj. He has 45 books to his credit and has recently translated the Jnaneshwari of Sant Dnyaneshwar into 9,000 Sanskrit verses. Professor Penna has about 17 awards and honors. He was honored with honorary D.Litt by National Sanskrit University, Tirupati, AP, for his unique contribution in Indian philosophy. The Tirumala peetham established by Ramanujacharya, Bhagavad Ramanujacharya in the 10th century has conferred Shastraratnakara on him. His areas of interest are yoga, Advaita and Nyaya philosophy. He is not only a professor, he is also a poet. He is on the creative side and also in the analytical side. He is a great Darshana scholar on in various areas of Darshana. So we are very fortunate to have his autobiographical experience sharing about how he has been able to straddle so many Shastras and creative writing and poetry and all these areas. Namaskaram. Please enlighten us with your knowledge.
Namaskaram, sir. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. My humble salutations to all the scholars who have shown the path of light to the mankind, and I pay my respect to the respected Harikaran Vadlamani sir and our very revered Dr. Nagaraj Paturi sir and Srinivas ji and others. So it's actually a very difficult task because I'm not a great scholar, a polymath, but still it is Agrajasya Adeshaha. So it's only an order by the Supreme Command that I am supposed to speak on this. But I would like to share my experiences and I would like to throw light on some of the aspects of this Shastra. It's really a very interesting journey, and my most respected Nagaraju sir and his father, very respected father. So all are involved in this. This is a journey into enlightenment, but still I am just marching ahead. So this fascinating journey I would like to share with you. So generally my speech will be focusing on these aspects of the topic, like own reflection as to how my traditional scholarship contributed to Bahumukha Prajna, the source in the traditional learning. In case of the ancient scholars like Bhoja, Abhinav Gupta, Vachaspati Mishra, Vijnana Bhikshu, Narayan Tirtha, they were all Bahushastri with Bahumukha Prajnashali. So just some traditional Mahat are really, so how I have been influenced by them or how fascinating their lives are. So this I would like to discuss. And multidisciplinary nature of a specific Shastra or few Shastra. So this will also be a part of my speech and potential for application of a Shastra for multiple contemporary fields, disciplines. So through my own experience, I would like to share my understanding of this topic also. So when I look back, I find, like any other person, I was also born in a body, and I was born in a village, small village in first Mahbubnagar district, but later, very young age, I was moved to the village in Nalgonda district. So there I happened to learn some of the Amarkosha, Nakshatra Nighantu, etc. from my grandfather. Then I was initiated into the Vedic tradition, and I studied the Taittiriya Shakha of Krishna Yajurveda for some time with my grandfather there. And I was really uh, not fully aware of the great world of Sanskrit. But maybe because of the samskara in the family, Shuchinam Srimatam Gehe. So not Srimatam, but Shuchinam was definite that I was born in such a family that my maternal uncles, maternal grandfather were really multi-talented, and maybe I carried the same genes that some thought about the universe, some thought about my own existence, what will happen to me, what I'm going to become in this life, and what is really the Purushartha. So all this was present in me, and luckily I had my second brother who also has the philosophical inclination and who used to study, who used to practice yoga, who used to discuss several things. So maybe they have ignited this kind of a desire to know in me, and thus I took the first steps into this journey. And the only thing I knew was only studying and understanding. So fortunately, God has given me some memory. So I used to by heart things, I used to understand things, and once I hear, I can retain. That is God given to many of the scholars and to me also to some extent. So with that, I was just going on, and I was admitted in the Sri Venkateshwara Vedanta Vardhini Samskrita Kalashala in Secunderabad. That was established by one Chaturshastri, a great scholar in Vyakarana, Nyaya, Mimamsa, and Vedanta. So he studied in Oriental School in Perambudur. Later, he came back to Hyderabad and established a Sanskrit school first. Later, it was converted into a college, and that particular college had produced became vice chancellors, and great students like Marinati Srirangacharya and others. So that college is really a very fortunate one. And I was admitted and I studied some of the basic texts like Amarkosha, Lagu Siddhanta Kaumudi, Yaksha Prashna, Bhagavad Gita, all these texts, Tarka Sangraha. So these texts I studied there. But as always, I used to be very curious to know the deeper meaning. So I used to trouble the teachers also. And Samudrala Srinivasacharya Garu, my Guruji. So he taught me the basics of Sanskrit grammar like Pratyahara Sutra and the beginning sutras. Later, I was uh, asked by some teacher to take admission in the Nyaya Shastra. Thus, I studied Nyaya Shastra for 3 years with good teachers that they were really very inspiring. I studied Nyaya Shastra. Later, I came to the department, Sanskrit department in Usmania University, where I was introduced to really great souls. Some of them may not be very great scholars in modern terms, but they are really great souls. They are Sahurdaya Shiromani, like Professor Lade sir, Professor Ramachandra sir, Mahamohopadhyay and Padma Shri, and Professor Kamala madam, Professor Nalini Sagle madam. So I was studying all the texts sometimes with teacher, sometimes without teacher also. And when I was in the final year of the degree, graduation, I was really confounded with the problem in Nyaya Kusmanjali, the fifth Stavaka, and I wanted to understand the text on my own without the help of any commentary, translation, or teacher. Then I was asking myself, see, all these years I've been studying Sanskrit, but I have not yet got that skill, that dexterity, that I can easily understand the text. So this stage I should immediately acquire. Then I approached several scholars, but most of them told me very frankly that this is a Nyaya text and we can explain the Kavya Nataka, but not this Nyaya text, and especially the text of Udayanacharya is very abstruse and the intricacies cannot be easily explained. So you approach some Sanskrit scholar, that means pure. Then I happened to meet Dr. Kandade Ramanujacharya, Abhinav Vyasa, and Abhinav Sudarshan Suri. So then he was in Nagpur and I approached and requested, Sir, I would like to understand Nyaya Kusmanjali. So please explain. And here I understand that God must have given a particular uh, change in my life. He must have brought that kind of change in my life that I approach the teacher with that desire to know. And this is very important phase in my life, that there was a kind of inner urge and I approached the teacher in right time, and the teacher is very compassionate that he immediately said, yes, tomorrow onwards you come in the morning. Thus I used to travel by bicycle for about 12 kilometers and I used to go to Nagore. Then I used to sit at his feet and listen to his lectures on many topics. We started with Nyaya Kusumanjali, then we continued with Dhvanyaloka, then Lochana, with Lochana, then Abhinav Bharati Natya Shastra, 6th chapter, then Bhushanasara, Dhatvartha Prakarana, especially, and Spota Prakarana. Then Ramayana Mahabharata were his favorite, and that's why he used to intermittently, very frequently, used to tell me many important things of these two texts. And I was very fortunate that I was with these Vaishnava scholars, that I got the opportunity to listen to the theories of Sri Vaishnava philosophy of Bhagavad Ramanujacharya also. So I was really an ignorant person, but my compassionate teacher went on teaching me several things, though I did not ask. But he was so compassionate that he taught me several things and he explained to me several things on his own, like the Saptavidha Anupapatti in Sri Bhashya and the Sri Bhashya main theme and Visishtadvaita, the intricacies. So that was really a very golden phase in my life, that what I was exposed to the ocean of Shastra, and that was the final year of my graduation, and I then got admission into the PG. Then because of my swabhava, I used to study whatever was prescribed and whatever was necessary. Thus I was studying everything like a mad person. People used to call me, you have that madness in your name, Madhusudan. So the first three letters are mad, you are mad. So but I did not bother about such comments and I went on studying the things. Then again a kind of exposure occurred in my life when I started studying the Bhagavad Gita with Shankara Bhashya for my MPhil dissertation, comparing that with Abhinav Gupta's Gitartha Sangraha. So that was really a very great time, that both the texts were new, but I was studying, I was asking my teachers, and I was not leaving even a single point. So I was underlining everything, understanding, and approaching the teachers to explain to me the subtleties of the theory there. So thus I was really progressing, and I was aware of that I am progressing. And I found in myself some kind of, you may call it enlightenment or a kind of opening up. So I found it and I was really one. I submitted my MPhil thesis. The department professors were very happy. and I was awarded. I was awarded the MPhil degree also. And during that particular period, I got an opportunity to work with Mahesh Yogi in the Netherlands. So I went to the Netherlands at the age of 25. I was there. I was there for 3 months, and I really love that particular period that I got this chance to listen to Mahesh Yogi, how he interprets things, how he connects, and the essence of human life. So those things I learned from those scholars. John Hegelin, the great physics scientist, was also there, and I regularly listen to them. Uh, Vincent Kurtz, John Hegelin, with from Switzerland. So we used to sit regularly and discuss several things, and I was really admired, and I too admired those people, and that continued for a long time. And one foreigner presented to me the Bhagavad Deepika or Jnaneshwari during that particular period. Though I could not complete that study, I was not also very much impressed by that, but I was just studying that some text. But during that particular period, I studied the Shiva Sutra, Pratyabhijna Hridaya, and I felt that I got some insights. And daily I was practicing meditation because that was compulsory and very useful also. So then gradually a change occurred in me, that I was longing for that experience of meditation and knowing the universe and connecting with the source of the universe. All these were really fascinating me. I was regularly practicing that. Then I returned to India, and after coming India, let me tell you one more thing, that when I was in the Netherlands, I had two books with me. One, the Ashtadhyaya of Panini, S.C. Basu English translation, and I had Yoga Sutra Vyasa Bhashya also, and I used to study them very regularly, and I was really uh, impressed by them. Then I returned to India, and here I happened to work with Professor Nagaraju sir, and that was really a golden moment in my life, that I was introduced to a real scholar, a real uh, saintly person, because this is not intellectual informative knowledge, but he possessed that kind of spiritual uh, knowledge, spiritual experience that he must have inherited from his father. First, Nagaraju sir was introduced. I was there, and we used to discuss several things in Golden Threshold, that Central University campus, and I was so impressed and fascinated by his depth of knowledge. Several things: physics, chemistry, Sanskrit, darshan, literature, linguistics, everything he used to share with me. And I was very fortunate that I got those moments in my life, and that actually that brought some transformation in me. So I was gradually evolving into another person, and that was gradual process, and I was really happy. Then I started working in other colleges also. But for my PhD degree, when I went to the Madras Triplican Oriental Manuscript Library, and I searched for an unpublished manuscript, about that, I got the information from Koendo, a professor from Japan working in Nagoya University then. So he brought to my notice that there exists an unpublished manuscript on Yoga Sutra written by Narayana Tirtha in Telugu script. So I went there, I stayed in a hotel, and I got the manuscript, and I went through. I transcribed the entire manuscript, reproduced that in Devanagari script, and during the study of that particular manuscript, I encountered several problems, and I approached my supervisor also asking for some solution. But she humbly and openly uh, told me that this is Shastra, I cannot understand. You approach some traditional scholar. And that was the time I was searching for another traditional scholar who could really explain the intricacies of the commentary. Then I went to great scholar Veereshwara Dongre Shastriji, Chatush Shastri again. And he was in his ripe age of 85 or so. But when I approached, he was so humble. He welcomed me inside and he affectionately told me, "You can come anytime, I will explain to you." And I frequently went to him almost every evening, and he used to sit and explain the commentary without referring to the book. He used to just explain. See, this is from Karikavali, this is from Upanishad, this is from Manusmriti. So all these references he had in his mind only. So thus he explained all these things. Then I completed my PhD, and throughout this period, I was just studying several texts, understanding their diction, their theories, sometimes with teacher, sometimes without teacher. But I was always with my teacher, Ramanujacharya sir, and simultaneously I was studying with uh, revered Paturi, Sita Ramanjaneyulu Garu. So he took me inside his house and he asked me to sit down right before his deity and asked me to chant the Dakshinamurti Stotra and said, "You sit straight and repeat with me." I repeated the Dakshinamurti Stotra and he then started the Adhyasa Bhashya, the Brahma Sutra Bhashya. And that period was also very important in my life because I was understanding all these great saintly figures and their role in modeling me, shaping my intellectual life. So I was practicing meditation, I was studying texts, I was trying to share my knowledge with my fellow people. And many people used to approach me for Mysore exams, Madras exams, and I used to teach them. And thus I was actually honing my talent. I was actually improving myself. I was getting some clarity in that. And after this particular period, I came to Nagpur, and that is Ramtech, and I started studying in the same manner. But the other side of me is poetry. So always I loved poetry, and I always find that there you find a good expression in that. So I used to write poems right from my childhood, and in MA also I wrote poems. After coming here, I published two of my short poems. So thus I entered into poetry. I studied some Shastra, but the Shastra study is never complete because it is actually a soul's journey, not to compete with anybody, not to show that I know more than you. So it's not like that. It is my soul's journey, that how much I learn, how much I put into my practice so that I can evolve into a different being. So in that particular pursuit, I am very happy that I have succeeded by the blessings of my teachers and saintly. So the Upanishadic statement that had driven me is Ihacheda Vedit Atha Satyam Asti, Noche Diha Vedit Mahati Vinashtihi. So I was trying to understand what these sentences want to tell me, that if you know this, yes. If you don't know this, great loss. So I was trying to understand what kind of life they want to recommend to us. So it is upasana, karma, dhyana, jnana, bhakti, all that. But it took me about 20 years to understand a synchronized meaning, a purport of all these sentences. So then I realized that there is something reality, it is Sat, and knowledge is also a characteristic of the Vishwa, it is Chit, and there is another aspect of life, Ananda, it is also one with the Brahman. Then the three should be understood. So, reality, even Western science, Indian science, they also try to explore that. The Kannada, Sankhya, Vedanta, Nyaya, Vaiseshika, they also deliberated on that, and they have produced wonderful theories. And Chitta aspect of that, how to get knowledge, how to transmit that. Then Ananda, how do you get it? How do you give to others? Then reason is very important. How do you convince others? How do you establish your theory? So I was trying to understand, with the help of the Nyaya Shastra, what kind of reason they present, what kind of reasoning they teach us, argumentative techniques, etc. So I was studying that part. Then mind part, my thoughts, my feelings, emotions, idiosyncrasies. Then understanding the mind with the help of yoga, I was trying to do that. Then language, because it is the means of expression. And if my expression is poor, then the other person will not really get what I want to say. And all my knowledge will be in vain. And therefore, I focused on the bhasha aspect, whether it is English or Sanskrit. I focused on that the bhasha should be as clear, as pure as possible, so that the other person can really get to my understanding, get to my feelings, emotions. So I was trying all these, and now people say you are polymath or anybody. So this particular one is the reason that I wanted to know the universe. I wanted to know what is happening in me. I wanted to know what is actually pleasure. I wanted to know what is really the valid reason. So for each one, I started studying that particular text or the discipline. Thus, Yoga Shastra to understand the mind, Nyaya Shastra to understand the reason, Vyakarana Shastra to understand the language. After all, Shastra is nothing but rule, principle, and many people have given us the Shastra. But if you compare with the Nyaya Shastra, you find that at many places Gadadhar Bhatta doesn't agree with Raghunatha Shiromani. Raghunatha Shiromani is also Nayayika. Gadadhar Bhatta Acharya is also Nayayika. But you understand, Tarka Apratishthanaadapi Anyadhanume Vichet Evamapi Anirmoksha Prasangaha. As the Brahma Sutra 2 and 2 explains, that Tarka is not certain. And therefore, naturally, the matured people go to Vedanta, but without yukti, we cannot convince that yukti is not of that much use. So therefore, yukti is compulsory, but yukti, when not presented in proper language, is really very feeble. Therefore, language is compulsory, but language is only the container. What about the content? And for the content, we should get the first-hand knowledge of the reality outside and inside, antar bahishcha tat sarvam, whatever is there. We should first get first-hand knowledge of that. Then we should put it in right language, and then the other persons will evaluate that. So with this idea only, I approached several shastras, and I remember now one sentence, like one commandment given by Professor Nagaraj sir when we were in the Abbott's Golden Threshold building. He told me, these are not books, these are minds, these are souls, these are rishis. So that left a very indelible impression on me, that still I carry that I'm not studying books, I'm actually conversing with the sages, and this is God's grace. Then question to reality that actually motivated me. What is this world? Who am I? How long will I be here? Then what will happen to me? Because death is inevitable. That hour comes in the life of rustic and king alike. That hour, inevitable hour, comes in the life of. So I also believe that, of course, for some time I have come here. I should know for myself, not to show to the world that I am a great scholar, only to convince myself that whatever I know is good for my life, is good for my family, good for my society. So this legacy should continue. And for that, I started studying all the Shastras, whatever I could, to understand whether both subject and object are real, or whether only one as subject is real, as the Advaita says, only subject real, object is only illusion. So in what sense we can understand, and what my predecessors had bequeathed to me, what my predecessors had told me. So what are their sayings? Where are they available? In the Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, Yoga Vasishtha, Brahma Sutra, and all. So I was like connecting all these texts in a single thread, like the oldest text Upanishads. Beyond that, I cannot get any reach. So I tried to understand all the Upanishads. I studied all the Upanishads, because when I was in the 7th class, I studied Kathopanishad with Chinmayananda Telugu, the Telugu translation of Chinmayananda Vyakya, and it was really wonderful. Then I started small Upanishad, Kathopanishad, Kenopanishad, Ishavasya Upanishad, etc. But my understanding was not perfect then. Then I taught some of these Upanishads to the monks of Ramakrishna Mutt. So that particular 6-year period was really great, that I was asked by Brahmastananda Swamiji to teach some of the Upanishads and Lagu Siddhanta Kaumudi to the uh, bachelor monks there, and I taught them, and they were very curious that they used to trouble me with several questions, and I used to study and answer. So that was the evolving period. Then I connected, okay, what Upanishads want to say and how that is presented in Brahma Sutra, whether it is as it is or any change, then how it has come down to Bhagavad Gita and either other texts also, and ultimately our predecessors, our forefathers, what they experienced and what they want to convey to us, that I was interested in. Then I observed in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Yajnavalkya Maitreyi Samvada, ultimately they say, you know yourself, first you listen to right person, Shrotabhyah Shrutivakebhyah, then you deliberate on them, you reflect on the meaning of those sentences, then you get that into practice. Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. And I firmly believed in that. That Shravana, I used to listen to teachers. Manana, I used to reflect on that particular said thing always. Then I still practice meditation every day to get that in practice, that even if I don't get intellectual life, no problem. But getting the purpose of human life, that's very important. And that is possible through Nididhyasana, I believe. And I continued with that. And I found in the ingredients that after all it is Pratibha. But Pratibha is very difficult unless we have Janmantara Punya. So, okay, we continue with Vyutpatti Abhyasa. There I found that in all the Shastra texts, it starts with Jnaneshwari, whether it is Kenopanishad, Jnaneshwari only, to know about the reality. Keneshtam Padati Preshitam Manaha, Kena Pranaf Pradhamav Praiti Yuktaha. All this is their actually intense desire to know about the reality. And rest is only the reply. Kathopanishad, Nachiketa's desire to know, and Yamadharmaraja reply. Similarly, the Pippalada Maharshi and the 6 students. Similarly, Angirasa, Adharva, Angirasa, and his Shaunaka student. So everywhere I found that it is Jitnyasa, the desire to know. Then the other two will support it, Vimarsha and Viveka. See, if I can, even after listening to the teachers, even after studying several books, if I don't use my mind and make it confound, that is of no use. Yasanasti Swayam Prajna, Shastram Tasya Karoti Kim. So this is famous saying. So I believed that Abhinavaguptacharya, he actually employed this rare faculty, that Vimarsha and Viveka. And he is bold that yoga, Tattvanam Chitiyojanat Yoga Mityahu, when he says, he is actually rejecting all the earlier theories, saying that no, yoga is not asana pranayama pratyahara, nothing. Yoga is this. So this kind of Vimarsha, this kind of Viveka is very rare, but fortunately we have great scholars like Vachaspati Mishra, Abhinavaguptacharya, and other Nayayikas also, very great scholars. So naturally we get Pratibha, but otherwise we can get all the other 3 motivated by the grace of God and teachers. So this I observed and continued. And now when I look back, I find myself that I entered into the field of Shastra as a novice, not knowing any Shastra. But later I found that amongst the human beings also who are in the field of Shastra, we find that there will be a stage when he doesn't know anything at all. Then he develops some interest in that. Then he will understand one Shastra taught by somebody, otherwise he cannot understand. So I find so many students that unless you teach, they don't understand. So they cannot connect with the understanding of the text. And some remain there only. But some of them, they get promoted to the next level, understanding any Shastra on own. So I observed some of the scholars around that, yes, they have come to the matured level that they can understand some Shastra, and even a new manuscript or Shastra, they can connect with that, they can explain the meaning of that. Then the highest level is connecting all Shastras and creating a new one, like Gulabrao Maharaj in Maharashtra, like Apaya Dikshita or Vedanta Deshika, Vachaspati Mishra, and several other. So they are so matured in that particular Shastra that the entire Shastra is in their brain and they are able to connect with all the intricacies of the Shastra, that wherever it is required, they can connect with the Shastra, and thus a kind of new Shastra evolves. So these Shastra stages I found, and even now I find around in the society that some people have stuck up somewhere in these stages only. Many people are there, they don't know any Shastra. Some people are there, they have interest in Shastra, but they don't study. Some just understand the text when it is explained by somebody, and other are there, they read for themselves and understand, and then the highest level is there. So this also I have observed, and I am just progressing. I have not come to the last stage that I am a great scholar. It's not like that, because death is the great teacher. Death teaches everything to everybody, that it is inevitable and nothing will last. Therefore, I don't believe in that. It's only till death, whatever we can do, that we can do. And here I have observed that the Upanishad, Taittiriya Upanishad, when it states Swadhyaya Pravachanabhyam na pramaditavyam, I understand that Swadhyaya is one Shastra, Pravachana is another Shastra. Swadhyaya, it's actually a kind of entry into myself. This is with the help of the Yoga Shastra, actually practicing yoga, not Shastra, then reflection on the Upanishadic sentences and really remaining blank and observing. So that is Swadhyaya, getting into myself. Then when I come out, what to do? Then Pravachana. It's not simple Vachana, but it should be Pravachana. So when it touches the ultimate reality, the words get empowered, that they carry the energy of the God. So there the words become Pravachana. And thus I understood that I should gain knowledge and I should transmit that. I should impart that. So how to gain that knowledge? By self-study, by approaching teachers, by doing all these things, and by doing meditation also regularly. On the other side, how to communicate? That means how to uh, disseminate this knowledge. For that I required Nyaya Shastra, Vyakarana Shastra, because these two are the means, actually like mathematics for the science, the Nyaya Shastra for all the Shastras. So it's language of Shastra. So that particular language should be mastered, that it can really carry my idea to the other person. And language should be uh, correct, chaste. For that, Vyakarana Shastra is also required. So I cannot avoid anything. If I really want to understand any one Shastra, the other Shastras are compulsory. As Sripada Subramaniam Shastri sir was telling in the morning, that Tattva Samanvaya Sutra Bhashya, we know from the Bhashya that Ekashastratva, whether Purva Mimamsa and Uttara Mimamsa are one or different. So Vishishtadvaiti says they are different. Advaiti says they are one. The discussion is there, and naturally some references of the Mimamsa Sutra, Mimamsa Shastra do occur there, and how to understand the Nishadasthapati Nyaya, the Radhakara Nyaya, the Arunadhikarana Nyaya. So for that, naturally, a scholar who is studying the Vedanta only for his realization cannot avoid the Mimamsa references, Mimamsa understanding. But how much he gets into that is different. Because when I approached Kashi scholars long back in 2007, so he was telling me very affectionately that you approach me thinking that I'm a great scholar, but I know how the great scholars are. He points to others. Tatacharya sir, when I approached asking about one Paribhasha and Paribhasha Shekhara, so he said, sorry, I don't remember now, but if you bring the book, I'll tell you. So it doesn't demean the status of those scholars. Actually, that reflects their humbleness. So this I observed in my life, that ultimately when I observe, I get some knowledge, and that knowledge I should share with my fellow beings. And here, when it comes to the modern subject, my second brother is a scientist. My first brother, he also retired as a scientist from Atomic Research Center in Mumbai. And recently he got the award the Royal Society Science Fellow from England. So he's a good scientist in plant biotechnology. And they used to discuss several things, and I happened to be there. I shared with that, and they taught me, and they initiated me into the physics and all these things. And we used to discuss several things. Even today, when we meet, we discuss, all the brothers. So it's really great family luck that I got. So there I found that whatever the physics science is trying to say, that is nothing but whatever the darshana has propounded. So this is the postulative stage, and this is the experimental stage. But we cannot reject entirely, outrightly saying that this is absurd. Maybe if not today, after several years it may be proved. But because in science also several things are proved after sometimes 100, 200 years after the postulation of that particular theory. So the how of darshana, the methodology, the modus operandi is given in physics, such Shastra, and whatever question the science puts before, like why, the purpose, the metaphysical question, that is answered in the darshana. Thus, these two, as Will Durant explains in his story of philosophy, he says, now the time has gone when science and philosophy used to face different directions, but now a time has come when these two look at each other and contribute and complement. So I believe in that, and in coming years we may not be there, but definitely these two will come together, maybe after 500 years or 200 years, but a new vision will be given to the mankind, that the people of that particular time will get new knowledge and they will be exposed to different things. So this I believed, and that's why I started studying several books on physics, chemistry. I used to discuss with my daughter, and my wife, better half, happens to be a mathematics postgraduate. So I discuss whatever I want to learn. I ask, like differential calculus, what is that, how you come to that, etc. So I try to connect with my darshana understanding. So thus I found that bhautika and adhyatmika, if these two worlds are to be explored, then I have to understand how my forefathers thought about these two things, the external world and internal world. Then I happen to get into Sankhya Yoga, Nyaya Vaiseshika, Mimamsa, Vedanta. But let me make it clear, as Bodas and Atle remark in the beginning of their introduction to the Tarka Sangraha, that sometimes it so happens that some hair-splitting arguments are presented in the Navya Nyaya text. And he writes there, neither the writer nor the reader gets an iota of knowledge, new knowledge there, that which you get in a very satisfying manner in the Vedanta text. So seldom do we get from the Navya Nyaya text. So that's why sometimes we may not put 100% efforts in some other discipline, but it doesn't mean that we are totally lost. We can put efforts in other discipline, and we can really get good insights, so that we can build up some understanding for ourselves to lead a very meaningful, purposeful life. So this I practiced always, and I continued with that. And there, as I told you, the base is Vyakarana. And luckily, my teachers taught me good Vyakarana. The sutras, the vritti, Balamanurama, and I myself taught for some time. Then here in Sanskrit University, I taught Bhushan Sara for 4 years. And during that particular period, I developed a kind of liking for the subject, that I studied the Balamanurama, this, but the higher studies I did not go for, because I was always interested in Vedanta and this Nyaya Shastra, Prachina Nyaya, because this is actually Artha, Prameya Shastra. So I was just trying my skill in that. So I was understanding. Then Sankhya Yoga, that attracted me, and I tried to understand the major theories of all these texts with the help of Vyakarana only. That's why Prathame hi Vidvamsaha Vyakarana. Then, while studying the Vedanta, I understood that without Mimamsa, Vedanta is difficult to understand because when Krishnananda Saraswati writes on Advaita and refutes the Dvaita, Visishtadvaita and Sankhya Yoga, he at several places uses the Mimamsa Nyaya. And unless one understands, one has clear understanding of the Mimamsa, it's very difficult. Even when these scholars explain how Tattvamasi is Karmadharaya Samasa, some of the scholars give the example of Nishada Sthapati Nyaya, the Nishada Sthapati. So there, Nishadanam Sthapatihi or Nishadascha Asau Sthapatihi. So when they explain, understanding that maxim in the context of Mimamsa Shastra is different. But applying that to the Vedanta and understanding Tattvamasi on the lines of that Mimamsa is somewhat difficult. But luckily, these great scholars have stood us in good stead that we can really understand these maxims. Thus, Arunadikarana and Bhushana Sara, the Nishada Sthapati Nyaya in the Vedanta, and several other. And recently, I translated all the Mimamsa Sutra 2715 into English and had given the Kumarila Bhatta, Shlokavartika, Tantravartika, Tuktika, all these with Shabara Bhashya. So it's actually huge text in 3 volumes that we published from Delhi. So during that particular period, I was really taken away that Shabara Bhashya leaves a very deep impression on Shankaracharya. That if we believe that Shankaracharya belonged to a later period, then we find a kind of similarity in diction in both their writings. That Patanjali Mahabhashya, then Shabara Bhashya, then Shankara Bhashya, these actually reflect some similar characteristics, and I was really fascinated. And another fascinating commentary is Yukti Deepika on Sankhya Karika, really wonderful but incomplete. I taught that sutra. The videos are available on the internet also, that YouTube also. So this is all my evolution, that I was trying to evolve into as perfect as possible, a perfect human being. Perfection is actually very difficult to define. And then I now look back and see here that when I approached my teachers with this curiosity that I would like to understand the Shastra, some of them did not entertain, like Ramachandra Koteshwar Sharma, Sripada Subramanya Shastri sir. So all these scholars, though they were available in Hyderabad, they simply said, now Sripada sir said, I don't have time. And Koteshwar Sharma sir said, I am very old, that I am not healthy. So I approached Ramanujacharya sir, I approached Sitaramanjana sir, I approached Dongre Shastri ji. So these scholars had kindly passed on their knowledge to me. And I am fortunate that whatever little I got in my life, that is because of these great scholars and the insights they had given, especially what this Sita Ramanjanalu sir, he is like Avadhuta to me. So a great Upasaka, a great saintly figure. Because I used to go to his house not to get any knowledge, only to have his darshana and only to sit with him. And sometimes he used to scold me, but they were like Amruta. So I did not feel any time. And I used to get whatever I could from him. And he's a great scholar that he had commented on the Shivananda Lahari, Shiva Mahimna Stotra. And he told me how his Upasana opened him into the secrets of all this past. Whatever occurred, now occurred, it cannot come back. But the revered sir told me that he could get whatever happened, he could see and put in his book. Thus he told me that this Shiva Mahimna Stotra is the work of Vararuchi, that is Pushpadanta. Then I asked him, maybe. He said, no, not maybe. I will give you the proof. And he had shown me the shlokas where it is encoded. It is given in a coded language, Pushpadanta, Vararucha. And he has decoded that and told me, this is one. And when he had written the Rudradhyaya, in the introduction, he had explained the Rudra Tattva. Then when I asked him that I could not get it, then he gave several examples that Rudra is Agni, how it has come down into our culture. All this he explained with that fatherly affection. That is the rickshaw I am carrying. Now I may be in some position, tomorrow I may not be there, but the knowledge will be with me, and the affection they had uh, given to me, that I carry throughout my life. And this is nothing but their blessing. I still believe, I always believe that Kandade Ramanujacharya Swami, yesterday evening, I happened to talk to him. Then also he said, yes, this is this, this is this. And whenever I get doubts, I immediately call Rajaram Shukla sir, Devanathan sir, Samudrala Rangaramanujacharya sir, and very affectionately they explain. Just before 10 days. So 10 days ago, Devanathan sir, he spoke for almost 40 minutes and he was telling to me, this is this, this is this. So these kind people are there, and because of them, people like me also shine. Pushpam ala anushangena, sutram shirasi dharyate. They are like the fragrant flowers, and we are like the sutra, but sutra also, because of its association with the fragrant flowers, that also can waft the fragrance for some time, and that also can that spread the fragrance. And I'm just doing like a courier service. I'm just spreading their greatness, that if I am great, it is nothing but my teachers are great and my forefathers are great. Because of them I carry the genes, and I'm doing whatever little I can do without any self-deception. And now we come to the conclusion that first thing we should understand, that though each shastra is like an ocean, we should keep in mind that all shastras are interrelated. Therefore, you cannot get away from one shastra. You require Vyakarana to understand any shastra. Then as you get into one shastra, you naturally require the knowledge of other. Thus, all the shastras come together. Otherwise, our understanding will not be complete. That is the problem. Then upasana. Upasana is actually sitting close to a teacher. This is must to get a right guru. Then the upasana will take us into that. So upasana is aikagrartham upasana, they say. So it is actually for concentration purpose. And this upasana, I believe that it does wonders in our life. Guru is upadeshaka. So I asked some great Vyakarana from Kashi, even that Baliram Shukla sir, who expelled from Pune, he was a great Nyayika from Kashi. So we used to discuss, I used to phone, ask several things. And sometime I asked him that, do you study all the texts from a teacher? Then he said, no. Even in the Mahabhashya, Navanika is taught, and everything else we understand ourselves and teach the students. And the teacher is also, when he is convinced that we have good understanding of the subject, he permits us. So thus, Guru is Upadeshaka. He points to that. Then we should carry the beacon. We have to put 100% efforts to get to that. And honesty, hard work, and respect for the Shastra. It's actually a kind of love for the Shastra, respect for the Shastra, and teachers. This is actually the success mantra. Like, I love some kind of food, then I go to the restaurant or I go to the market, I get that and I prepare and I eat it. Similarly, when I love particular topic, I should get to the library, I should get to the book, I should study that. If I don't understand, I should ask the people who understand that. Then after getting a kind of connection, I should proceed. So this I believe. And uh, see, whatever I am. And whatever all these have given to me in this my life, so that I carry, and I owe a lot to these great saintly figures, including our Nagaraju sir. So he blessed me several times, and whenever we get time, even on the road, we stand there and start discussing, and I love to listen to him because of uh, the upasana style. These spiritual matters are not to find anywhere. People love to talk about worldly things, but beyond the world, they don't have any knowledge, they don't talk. And luckily, we have people like you, sir, and I'm really beholden. and I offer my sincere respects and regards. And on this day, remember our Guru, and whatever little I can share, I have shared. And thanks all my great souls. Namaste.
Thank you very much, Professor. That was a great presentation, truly autobiographical, and your experience sharing will be inspiring for many future scholars and future professors also. I think you should write in a more detailed fashion as a book, your autobiography, so that it will be inspiring for many how you have traveled to so many scholars. You took all the trouble to approach so many different people. How you left no stone unturned in approaching these great scholars, and how you connected traditional and modern fields, including your own getting knowledge from your own wife.
True, sir.
That is really an amazing and inspiring experience sharing. Professor Penna was mentioning my father. He was mentioning Paturi Sitaramanjanayil Garu. Actually, I am so fortunate to be the son of that Siddha Purusha. And as a passing remark, he was mentioning my father's work on Shiva Mahimna Stava. In that, what my father was establishing as being mentioned by Professor Penna was that there is a Chitrakavitva style encryption of some historical and autobiographical information in the stotra.